Good afternoon, everyone. Public Safety and Public Works Committee is now officially open. Um, Madam Clerk, would you note it who our city rep is here, Mr. Gunther. Um, did you get a chance to review the minutes for July the 8th? Do you have any amendments or any corrections? Push your push your button so we can know that you are talking.
No, I don't.
Okay. Then let's approve minutes of July the 8th. Um, Next, we got reports for the public safety. We got some really interesting and new stuff here. So new to me, I just started reading it, and so it's going to be informational from whoever is going to present it. Number one is a resolution accepting the 2025 Burn Discriminatory Grant. Discretionary.
So, this is a grant that we get every year. We partner with the county and Benton Charter Township. We run as the fiduciary for the grant. It's based on crime statistics, so I fill that out. Turn it in every year. The number in there is just what we were awarded this year. And we just need to accept it and run it through. This year, we're going to be using it for bolstering our crime scene investigation stuff. We've been working on getting that back in line for years past. We've always either relied on the county or the state to handle that, and now we've got crime scene techs, and now we're working on getting them the modern equipment that they need to do their jobs. So, and that's where the director is right now. As a matter of fact, he's supervising the crime scene that's over on Baird from the shooting that just occurred today.
Remember seeing that grant before, and so it's a good thing that we're getting it again, and enhancing our officers to investigate crime. You have any thoughts or concerns on that, Mr. Gunther?
No, I don't.
I say that we give consensus.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
How much is this grant?
Well, I did see it.
I can answer that, Commissioner. It's 18,830 is what was awarded to the city.
City Rep Johnson came in, so did you have anything to say? We were speaking on the first item for the public safety. First item. Okay, with consensus given, we'll push that on to whomever needs to be. Number two, discussion. Requirements for assignment to toll. It's a lot. I don't know if you guys got it or not. Did you? A plan, a draft plan for toll rotation. Okay. Did you get it, Madam Clerk? Oh, it's in your packet. It seemed to be fairly large. And I wasn't able to bring it back to, look at it and bring it back to our committee next month. Well, it's concerning regulations and rules on how the city go about towing. So they want to make it uniform. So this is their first attempt to a draft of it, and this is just a draft.
I have a question. With this packet, can we get this before the date of? So this wasn't ready until today? Okay. Yeah, I would request to get because this is a lot of information to read over. And I would like for us to have this, if it's like a lot of pages to read, I would like us to have it, if we can, beforehand, so we can at least be able to make a decision, so we don't have to keep pushing it back. Is that okay? Okay.
Well, it is a draft, and it's a first step of us in improving something. So we'll put it back on the agenda. And you have a chance to read it and during that time.
Yeah, I agree, because we can't make a decision without us going over it and seeing what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. And then number 3 in public safety is discussion of pop-up street parties. I'm not familiar with them, so
Pop-up street.
are you going to give a discussion on that, Clark?
Which part? I'm sorry. It was,
Pop-up street parties. I don't know.
yes. So I don't know exactly what the director was going to talk about. I have a rough idea because we had a pretty lengthy conversation yesterday. The problem that we're having is, again, we're having parties that are getting out of control. So, to be clear and upfront, an individual, if they want to have a gathering at their home, they can, right? There's nothing that says they can't. If they want to have people over till late at night, they can. What becomes a problem is when you start to exceed the basic allowable limits for the property, and it gets out of control, and it spills into the streets, which we get calls for, or the noise, the music and such goes past the quiet time hours, and we get calls for, or streets get blocked, which, again, we get called for, we have to clear that out. And so that is where the problem lies, for instance, if you want to have a party at your house, that's fine, but you can't sell alcohol. Because if you're selling alcohol, now you become subject to the jurisdiction of the Liquor Control Commission, and you got to have a liquor control license. You can't have a raffle. If you're going to have a raffle, you got to have a license from the State Lottery Commission. If you want to close streets, an event form has to be submitted to City Hall. It has to go through the channels, and that has to be established. If you're going to have an event that exceeds what would theoretically be the allowable number of people as ordained by the fire marshal, there has to be some permitting, there has to be things put in place. If you're going to have an event over a certain number of people, it has to have security that you have to hire. There's quite a bit of rules that the city has that we just want to kind of bring to attention, because we've had several of these incidents where they've gotten out of control. People have brought out guns. we've had other issues. We've had some events that have had no problems, but we want to make sure that people stay safe. Our goal is not to be the party police and stop a family event or something like that. But on the flip side, if this party's still going at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and there are people in that neighborhood that are trying to sleep because they got things they want to do the next day and they don't want to be up, and they call us and they bring us there, that becomes an issue. And the other issue that we're starting to have is these parties and events popping up at the local businesses again. So this past weekend, they were at the Sunny Spot, and that got out of control. They went to the station at 202 on Main and Fair. That got out of control, with it finally ending out in the township at Quickway. And that group actually ended up, from what I'm told by the township officers, essentially looting out the store because there were so many people in the store that the store clerks couldn't handle it, and people were just walking out with stuff. And I know that there have been some questions as to why we're not dealing with Quickway. That's not actually our jurisdiction. Now, if we get called there, we will go out there and help. But that is Benton Charter Township's primary jurisdiction. And our officers are deputized through the county. But again, it's a jurisdictional issue. If we decide to go out there and start taking enforcement for things we see without them asking us, calling for us, or requesting us to go do that. So I know there was some question as to why we're not addressing that store on our list of things that we're trying to accomplish. But that's why. It's not our jurisdiction. Much like the 76 that's on Pipestone, that's literally a handful of stones outside of the city limits. So again, excuse me, we're all for it. If you want to have a gathering, that's fine. Just be respectful of the city's rules, the state's rules, the neighbors, and then there won't be any issues or problems. That's what our big concern is. We don't want anybody getting hurt. Knock on wood, we've had a pretty decent summer so far for the most part. Some things are a little bit up, but for the most part, it hasn't been bad. So that's the issue, and that's what we wanted to address. Is coming out of this is we don't want something turning into a bigger issue than what it has been already.
Do you know if any of that information is on our website?
So all the ordinances are on the website. The stuff about the LCC, the stuff about the Lottery Commission, that's not on our website. That would be with the state. But, for instance, if you want to have a fundraiser, okay, you get an event permit with the city, you're going to do something, you can get a one-day liquor license through the state. You got to fill out the paperwork and get that stuff done. As one of the parties this weekend, if you want to have a raffle, you just got to get with the Lottery Commission and fill out the paperwork for that. Again, that's not our rules. I mean, we have separate rules for that kind of stuff, but the overarching authority is the state of Michigan. And we just want to make sure, again, we don't want extra things coming in here and taking more enforcement than need be when we can just work through the proper processes and channels to make sure things run smoothly.
So none of that information is on the website, huh? I know the ordinance is there, but everybody's not going to go and read the ordinance. So I'm asking is, can you put in plain English language what Benton Harbor rules are about these things?
I mean, that's probably a discussion for whoever the chief technology officer is and the webmaster to break that stuff out and delineate it out into those specific items, because that would be quite a bit of extra work to specifically say, okay, if you want to have this kind of thing, here's everything you have to do with the city, and then link it to what you have to do with the state. And, depending on what the rules are, there may be some county things too. So what I would say is this: it's a lot easier if you want to have an event like this or a fundraiser, fire us a question, because we can point you in the direction on that. Because, like, for instance, the lottery commission stuff, we have no say over that. We have no involvement. So there's nothing we can do. We can point you in the direction to fill out an application, but that's not us. Same thing with the LCC. We don't have any control or say in what the state of Michigan does there. We can point you in the direction of the application, but
The event form is on the website. I just verified. The event request form is on the website to fill out.
Okay, that's that. They could also reach out to a human and get an answer for a direction. So that's important. Thank you. Any comment or any?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I understand what you're saying, Officer Clark, but at the same time, I think it should be more avenues that the police department can relay these messages, because if somebody wants to have a party, they may not know where to, they don't come to the meetings. So what you're saying, there's only four people here, right? They don't always watch the YouTube. And if this is something, because eventually, if they have these parties and they don't know the state regulations or the city regulations, then y'all want to go out and arrest people because they didn't know. So I feel like the police department should take the initiative. Yeah, if you have the people to do the work, let them do the work. That's their job, right? So if they can put the information and link them to one link, and the city link to the state link or whatever, like you said, it's the webmaster's duty. Well, he said webmaster, so right. Whoever it is, we have to find more avenues to let the people know what's happening when they're, if this is an issue for the parties. So if we can figure out a way to even newsletters or something, or you guys have a Facebook page, right? And I know on the Facebook page, when stuff is happening, you feel like it's getting out of control, you'll get on there and sound the alarm about stuff that's, okay, we're not going to have this, or we're not going to have this, and if you do this, you're going to get arrested. So why can't you put that information out there as well? Because then people will start sharing that information as far as where to go to for the applications. If you want to have a lottery, this is what you have to do. If you want to have sell liquor, this is what you have to do. And then that way they'll have that correct information on the Facebook page. I'll post, along with the website. That's just my suggestion.
Okay, then I'm going to ask the next question to city manager. Do you think we could work on that?
I think we could work on it to a certain extent, but it's impossible to cover every detail. And people have to get beyond this "I didn't know" stuff, We all have gone through that when the police stop us. I didn't know but they tell you, hey, it's your responsibility to know. They have to make an extra effort to find out when they're trying to do this stuff. But we can do some of it.
Yeah.
Good. I'm gonna ask Commissioner Deetra Fields, who's on the communication now, to put that on her agenda so we can make it happen. Some part of it. I know we got a good Facebook account. A lot of people follow. So whatever it is we can do, we have to do it. And especially when I'm hearing you say that there is a problem and it could get worse. So let's see if we can do something about it immediately.
Yeah, I feel like if we take the initiative, be proactive in putting it out there and allowing them to see, because, and word of mouth gets around as well, and allow them to see on the page and everything, that I think will really help. So we appreciate you trying to at least initiate that and get some things out. I know, you can't do everything, but you can do more than what we're doing to inform the residents about these issues. And I think most of I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, most of the party people that are having the parties, you call pop-ups, are they usually the same people? Or is it just all over? Is it the same homes or residents?
Some of the parties there have been some parties that are consistently held every year. Some of them are not. Some of them, the promoters will put them out on their social medias on like Tuesday or Wednesday. They'll say, hey, we're going to have this party. And then it'll say location to be determined, and then on whatever day it's going to be, a couple hours beforehand, they'll put something on their Facebook as to where it's going to be, because they don't want somebody ahead of time tipping off whoever. So, about 6 months ago, we had a solid meeting with a few of the people that do party promotions, and we talked with them and had a good meeting. We have put stuff on our Facebook before about parties and pop-up parties and events. The conversation here today was kind of bringing this back to light, saying, hey, listen, this has gotten out of hand, because it's been 4 weeks in a row now that large parties have overwhelmed the department on the overnight hours, and we've had to have the entire North County for the Sheriff's Department, Benton Township, St. Joe City, and the state police help us get these crowds cleared out. And so, not only is it taxing our agency, but it's also drawing resources from other communities to give us a hand. Saturday night, for instance, we had a house fire that was an arson. And immediately after that, before we could even clear the house fire, we were getting calls on this party. And so, we have resources and we have people on duty, but when they're running nonstop and all the resources are being drawn everywhere, that's taken away from what could be other pressing issues. So, again, that's why it was kind of put on the agenda today was, let's talk about this, let's get out ahead of this before this turns into a bigger problem that makes a worse situation.
Okay, thank you for that. Is it possible you can send those links to me or other people that will request it? Like, we have other organizations on Facebook that gets information out to the people that's connected to their page. So is it possible you can get me those links to the state and, your ordinance and things of that nature? That way I can distribute them out as well, but you all can do your part on your page, and I can distribute them out as well to the other organizations.
Yeah, I can get those over to you.
Okay, thank you.
There any more comments or concerns? Okay, then we'll move on. Yes, please, step up to the mic.
Hello. Oh, I need to push the button. Hi, Cassandra Booker. I got a question in regards to the large parties, and you said that they were moving to different locations. Is there any responsibility or liability on the actual establishment's part in regards to controlling the crowd or not having gatherings happen in their parking lots or at their establishments? Are there any fines issued? I'm trying to figure out what's the procedure and protocol for the actual business owner.
So there are. So the business owner is responsible for the items that take place on their property. There have been businesses that have been cited for these events You know, and we're going to circle back on that, I think, in the next committee meeting, because we've got some other stuff that we're working on right now in regards to the businesses and what's going on. It's just a matter of, you know, we got to make sure the city attorney's on board with certain things, and as well as everybody understands. But yes, there has been enforcement action taken against these businesses. But again, for the city ordinance violations, it's not a tremendous penalty, unfortunately. And so sometimes people will take the ticket and, okay, cool, pay their fines because they're going to make more in doing what they do when they do, if that makes sense.
So your department is revisiting that and you're trying to create stiffer penalties, or is that what you guys are working on?
We're looking at a couple different options, but in order for any escalation of penalties or ordinance changes, that's going to have to come through the commission. So we got to bring it back to the here and make sure we got our ducks in a row, have the city attorney on board with it, and then bring it to the commission.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else has a comment or concern?
This is a hard job you guys got. Commissioners and the police department. We have a lot of people from other places, but definitely don't know any of the rules in Ben Harbor, even how to give a decent party. When I said decent, I mean a decent party. That's one was not going on 3 o'clock in the morning with a lot of music that everybody don't care for. The police got a problem mainly because they need to show up to every one of those parties. To show up, knock on the door, talk to who's running, and I'm not trying to tell nobody what to do either. This is just a suggestion. But if the people are not confronted verbally by a peace officer, the problem is only getting bigger because a lot of these people, our people, are from somewhere else. They're not even from here, most of them. And that's what we try to that's what we try to not understand, that part. But if they don't understand the rules of the city, then it's all of you guys' obligation to make sure that they know. You step in, if it's a party on my street and it's out of hand 3 o'clock in the morning, that's what I feel like getting up and doing. But that's not my job. And most homeowners won't even call and say anything. Seniors don't want to start anything with anybody. So then it all falls back on the police officers, the law enforcement officers. And I'm not trying to give them more than what they need to do either, but there's something that's got to be done. And all of these surrounding communities, we call them our friends, the township, St. Joe, all of that. I really don't want them unleashed on any of our citizens. But if you don't understand what a party is supposed to be like, then we got a problem in our life. And the kids, you think of the kids having to try to go to sleep, listening to that too. So what kind of help can the citizens give you? My question. Without being a snitch, because that's what most people would say. But we need to all be a part of this, solving this problem. how much is the ticket for an unruly party? What is the number for that? Because if nothing else, you guys could raise it up, whatever it is.
Here's a question for you if you finish.
I'm I'm not finished. I want to answer first. I could be finished once I get the answer. It's hard. It's like pulling teeth in this place when you try to get it. You talk like you
Mr.
see.
Duncan, I think
I
Michael
asked the
Clark.
question through the chair then.
Thank you.
Would you-
And he's sitting there ready to answer your
No, I'm
question.
trying to get an answer.
So the loud noise or disturbing the peace, party violations, is the fine is only 150.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I will say though, if you can give me 1 second, Mr. Duncan is correct. A fair amount of these crowds on these parties do come from other areas. And the other thing is, this just isn't our community problem. If you pay attention to the news, just this past weekend, there was similar parties in Michigan City, South Bend, the Indiana shoreline, Kalamazoo. And what we really want to get to avoid is what we've been seeing going on in some of the other major cities, which is the street takeovers, where they're, doing donuts in the street with cars and creating those issues. We do not want to get to that point, and that's why we want to get this dialogue started now and get this information out there.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
Something?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Kimberly Ellis, and I just wanted to ask a question about the parties. So, if you guys work all week and you want to hang out and go party, where is there for them to do that? If you have nothing for the people to do, then that's why they showing up at the gas stations, at the parties. You have nothing for them to do. Nothing. There's no places to go past 12 o'clock and enjoy yourself. If you go anywhere else out of this state, you can hang out decent hours as long as you want, as long as you're following the rules. But here, there's nowhere to go. So what do you want
You
the
are
people to do?
absolutely right. That's the social problem that we're dealing with. They're dealing with the legal part of it. And we have a social problem that we really need to deal with. It's not just social either, it's economics. So you're right, sister, that there is a bigger problem. But right now, he's just trying to deal with his end right now.
But he ain't gonna be able to deal with it if you don't find something for the people to occupy their free time. Cause that's what it is. They don't have nothing to do, nowhere to go. Where it's okay to go. At a certain time, you have to leave everywhere. So if you don't want to be inside your house, then you can't go anywhere. But we supposed to be okay with that.
I think we need to recognize there are a certain number of contradictions in what we're just saying. Now, we just talked about the fact that a lot of these people are not from here. They're coming from other places. And when we mention that there's nothing for them to do here, well, what about the places they're coming from? I think what we really are dealing with is places where they feel there's a path of least resistance. Places that don't have large departments to keep them under control and that kind of thing. I mean, city government can't create nightclubs, whatnot for people to go to. It's not,
Everything doesn't have to be a nightclub.
Well,
You can have
again-
late night bowling, late night skating. Everything does
But-
not have to be a party.
but
But if you have nowhere to go, then you're gonna make your own party.
but that comes from businesses setting up. Government doesn't do those things.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
that y'all responsible for
Yeah.
that. I'm just saying, if you have nowhere to go to enjoy yourself, what do you think a person is going to do? They're gonna make something for themselves. That's why y'all have the big problem, because they have nothing to do. So they're making their own meetup place, the stores, the gas stations, all that. I'm not saying that it's exactly your responsibility. I'm just saying, if you care about the people, then you would try to get some more things for them to do to keep them from going to those places. That's all I'm saying. Exactly. If you care
Heard you.
about us, them, everybody, people, human beings. That's what I'm saying. It's not one person, it's everybody. Because it's not just one color people, it's all people. Here. Even the people that's not from here. I'm talking about the people that live here have nothing.
That's part of the economic development too. People know that there is a lack here, so they come here and they bring their entertainment and their other stuff here. So we know that there's a social issue here, and somewhere along the line, we're gonna find some human people to solve it. And I appreciate you bringing it up because it was definitely stuck in my head. Thank you. Any other comment?
Yeah, I appreciate you coming up saying that because I totally agree. There's nothing for even the young people to do, let alone the middle-aged people to do. And I'm praying and hoping that someone will come in and, create something like a skating rink and, bowling alley, which we used to have, but things happen and directions change, but we can still have it. If the right people get involved to get that going and come together collectively to make that happen, I think we really do need that. We really do. And I think that is part of the problem. I really do. That and will help solve part of the problem as well. So thank you again for that comment.
Okay. Now we'll go to my favorite department, Public Works. Mr. Michi. We have a update for construction and grant amendment. Is that you or Jason?
Good evening. Yeah. Give me a minute, let me get hooked up here. These are some similar presentations that I've done in the past. I do apologize for not getting it to you guys before your packet went out, but I think I can explain these. I got a couple PowerPoint presentations. One of it on the amendment is a resolution that I have given you guys the hard copy. If you want to table that, that's fine. I think I can explain a little bit though of what's needed for the next steps on that. So, let's see. So really quick, I wanted to give Jason Mark with Atmarsh, project manager on a lot of the construction projects that are going on. Wanted to give a quick update during our Public Safety and Public Works Committee meeting today, just on the overall construction projects that are going on in the city. So you all have seen a lot of progress this past year. So this is a really quick, brief update on some new items, some pictures. So I'll just go through this. I'm going to highlight what the current status of the Superior Street project is. So that's that resurfacing project. There was a Jennings Avenue in East Empire, so 2 streets, but 1 contract, 1 project, if you will. Territorial Road, Wakanda, Cherry, and Water Street, that's all under 1 contractor and 1 contract. West Britton Avenue and West Empire, there by the school, and coming off of Riverview right now on Britton, that's underway. And I'll give a brief update on the schedule for the MDOT M139 Fair Avenue project. That's ongoing right now. So that is being done by MDOT, but I did ask them for a schedule update. So I presented this a few months back when all the projects were getting going. Just like I said, it's hard to see up there, but there's the blue highlighted items are the Water, Territorial, Cherry, and Wakanda. Those are all in those locations up there. The Britton and Empire projects, the red ones, those are the ones that are being done by the school and the sewer replacement between Riverview and the water tower, 8th Street on Britton. And then in purple, that purple is hard to see, but that is where the limits of the Superior Street resurfacing is. That's Emery to Empire. And then there was 2 segments on East Empire and near Sunny Spot, and then Jennings Avenue, that's in green there. So those are the contracts that the city is underway with. And then, of course, the long yellow segment of what MDOT is doing on M139 and Fair Avenue. So just real brief, just kind of a recap of what we presented when we were going for award. Superior Street's the first one on my PowerPoint here. That is between, like I said, Emery and Empire. That project was awarded to L.E. Barber, so they're ongoing out there. That includes cold milling, roadway resurfacing, and ADA ramp improvements. So the project status, that one is the one that construction's ongoing. I don't have the good news of that being completed yet, but it's actually expected to be done by Labor Day. So expect a lot of work over the next few weeks to get that paved and back open to traffic. So this is what it looks like right now. You can see that up there in the top left, where the barrels are, the curb has been removed. So if you can picture after the concrete work comes in there, those will be new ADA ramps. So they're prepped for that. They're currently working on storm sewer, so they're replacing some of the storm sewer inlets along Superior. And then that bottom right picture shows what we would call the milled surface. So the top 1.5 inches of asphalt's been removed already from that pavement. You can technically drive on it. It is closed to through traffic, so people still can get to their homes. But it is a milled surface, but it's hard enough that you can drive on. When they do pave it, they will shut down the road, and paving will only take 1 day when they do that. So we anticipate this to be done close to Labor Day. Jennings Avenue in East Empire. So that project was also awarded to L.E. Barber at a cost of just over $1 million. That included a lot of sanitary sewer improvements, storm sewer replacement, HMA roadway, some new curb and gutter, and some ADA ramps. I did put a project status on this. We're about 99% complete on that. There's still restoration and some final pavement markings to do on that, but that's essentially open to traffic. There is some small work items. The restoration is difficult to do, especially over the last month when it was extreme temperatures. So they will be doing that as close to the fall. We think that we're going to be in good shape to have that complete by Labor Day. There still might be some final restoration that we want to do into the fall. Of course, keep that contract open with the contractor to make sure that the actual restoration takes. So just a couple pictures of what it looks like. You know, the top 2 are segments of both East Empire and Jennings. Some of the lower pictures is the lower left. That's some of the sanitary sewer replacement that was done earlier in the year. And then in the bottom right, the dozer is placing the aggregate base material that goes underneath the asphalt pavement. Territorial, Wakanda, Cherry, and Water. So I did blow up that map a little bit. So different areas of the city that included even Cherry Street by the Family Dollar, and a couple of segments, a residential segment up there in Wakanda. The Territorial Road segment that was done by the Javis facility, and they're by Chatterbox and 200 Pawpaw. And then Water Street, what they're working on right now, near the Water Street lift station. So that contract was awarded to Northern Construction, just under 1.9 million. It includes many of the same items that I talked about before. And then, so the project status on the lower left there, Territorial's completed. We're waiting project closeout items there. Cherry Street, you might have passed along Pipestone and seen Cherry Street open. There's still restoration that needs to be happened. So the contractor's just kind of waiting for a little bit better weather so that the restoration that they put on there doesn't get cooked from the sun. I think the weather has turned for that. Water Street is ongoing. If you happen to cross over there, though, by near the railroad tracks on North Shore Drive, Water Street's going, but they are almost wrapping up. We really think paving is going to happen definitely before Labor Day. It might even be sooner. That's not really traffic heavy or traffic impact. And then Wakanda was completed, but restoration still is out there. So I just got a couple pictures of some of the projects that those were. So the top left, and actually all these are on Wakanda. So that's a concrete pavement that was replaced. You can see the joints were cut into the pavement. So after the concrete pavement is placed, they cut in the joints and then they seal those with hot poured rubber. Up there in the top right was some of their sewer installation pictures, and then the bottom left was when they were setting up for curb and gutter. You can see that on the right side of the picture, but also from their asphalt aggregate based with recycled asphalt. Here's a picture of Cherry Street. So Cherry Street's all done. Like this is an older picture, but it probably looks very similar. You can see the little hollow areas on the back of curb. So topsoil and seed will be placed there. This is what Water Street looked like just a couple days ago. There's a trench down Water Street, replacing that sewer line that goes to the Water Street lift station. And this is some pictures from Territorial. Territorial has been paid for a while. They got that done pretty much before 4th of July. And then this is a picture of the manhole installation over there on the left side. Oops. West Britain and West Empire has been your guys' the city's largest project this year. That was awarded to Elliott Barber earlier in the spring for $3.8 million. A lot of the same things. Mainly these projects all were Eagle funded for sanitary sewer upgrades. So that's how they were funded for 100% grant to the city. Project status there on the bottom left. Empire actually is open to traffic. The roadway surface has been paved. Manholes are being adjusted this week, so you can see a lot of the manholes in town. After the paving happens, you'll see a concrete collar around it when they get adjusted to the final elevation of the roadway. It lets them, that manhole sits in there nice and tight. Still restoration that needs to happen. Britain, they are going, that is the project that will be done at the end of the grant period, at the end of September. But they're right near 11th Street, so they have already gone from Riverview to 11th Street, and then they still need to finish 11th Street to 8th Street near the water tower. But they're working hard to get that done because we've chatted before about the grant deadline. So just a picture down below of what Britain looks like, and then on the right side there, sanitary sewer that's being installed by on Britain, kind of near the charter school right there. The update for Fair Avenue M139. So just remember, MDOT's completing the work with their contracting team. They have reached out to the city staff when any questions arise, but the city's not directly involved with a lot of their work that they're doing with the roundabout there by Intercare. The current schedule that they have, that they provided me yesterday, still shows in the purple there that that's still going to be anticipated basically 2026 road work. So what you see out there right now in the detour system, or the detour that comes through Pipestone, is essentially going to be left in place until the end of the construction season. So just remember that. There was talk about opening up some phases and whatnot. They've told me just expect the same thing to happen throughout the season. So once 2026 is done, I anticipate the purple section to be completely open to traffic. This project does continue to go south all the way to Nickerson and the Benton Township limits and all the way to 94. So that looks like MDOT will be tackling that next year, but within the city limits in purple should be completed by the end of this year. So you can kind of sneak through. I don't encourage it if there's traffic control up, but the roundabout essentially has been done there at Empire and Fair Avenue. They're making good progress. They have yet to install the large culvert that is near the creek. That's I don't know if that's Ox Creek. It's a tributary, but it's they have not yet installed one of their larger culvert sections. I will say that most of the utilities for the Benton Harbor, the city utilities, have been replaced. They were actually doing water main connections today, so they're making very good progress on the kind of the residential area of Fair Avenue along with the city utilities. So I wanted to highlight that. Just expect that work is more than likely going to continue to this construction season. and then everything would be opened up. We usually say that the construction season in Michigan ends around November 15th, either by weather or a lot of times, a lot of contractors go deer hunting. That's kind of our rule of thumb. But towards the middle of November, obviously, if weather's great, they can extend it. If weather's, impactful, but a lot of it has been paved already, at least on the new northbound section of M139. So, but expect that road will continue to be worked on until the end of the year. And that's really for my construction update. Didn't know if anybody had any questions. Wanted to just really kind of give an overview of that, and then I'll go into my amendment.
So thank you for your presentation. I just had a question about Britain, close to the post office.
Yep, sure.
Is there another route that people can take to get to the post office?
So they are building, right now, it's a detour that goes down 11th Street, down Gray Street, and back up towards the post office. Riverview Drive will be open to the milled surface this week. And eventually, what they'll want to do is they'll want to pave from Riverview to 11th Street. We are working to get Riverview Drive open this week so that people can start to use Riverview Drive and but yes, that post office access off of Britain will still be impacted until the paving. So, but I'm hoping by opening up Riverview, the other access points to the post office start to become a little bit more available. You should be able to get from the south side of Riverview if you have to drive all the way down to Gray Street and back up Riverview right now. But we are opening Riverview Drive up, so you should be able to just get to the post office off Riverview once we open that up this week. Yeah.
I'm going to ask my age-old question. I hear you all of these projects for Benton Harbor, big improvements, but I always ask about the human infrastructure. And I know that in the past, the commissioners have passed resolutions for jobs. And I'm asking you, I know you, in the last year or so, I hear you saying, yeah, we're putting it in the contract. But how is that working out for us?
So the jobs that I'll have to track the jobs for these ones. These are the same contractors that we awarded projects to last year. I do know that we've checked into their local income tax requirements, and they are meeting those requirements. But for how many, if they've hired new people, I will have to check on that, Commissioner Henry. Yep.
Well, it's very irritating and disrespectful when a commissioner asks for information over and over and over, and then you never bring it up, or it's not available so I'm saying to you and the city manager, we want to know those numbers. And you got some commissioners going to be checking on verifying that you are giving the right number. So we want that information. It was important for us to do a resolution to get it done. And it's more important now with how the economy is, that we give our people a chance to work. They're down there doing apprenticeship programs, all sorts of things. We want our people in there. And if we have to say no to a project, it might be for just that reason, human infrastructure.
I will look into that. I will check and see which Benton Harbor residents are to those contractors. I would also ask anybody who's listening, or if we can get the information out, please provide your information if you would like to work on a construction group project to the city hall or city manager. If we can get a list, I can pass that along to the contractors, and I know that they're always looking for help. So, but we'll get that information I have on these two contractors. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any
I
other
think it
comment?
might be nice to share, Demetrius, want to tell them what happened up here at Ox Creek?
I think it's Catskill.
Well, Catskills, they
Yeah.
was down there, and I just pulled up in there, and I was just being nosy, and and they was asking me was I coming down there to look for a job. So I do know the people that's working in Ox Creek, they are looking for locally talent.
Well, if they don't make the information available, it's not like they're looking, it's like they're playing games with us. So now, you just happen to go down there. You are our number one person in public works. So you just happen to go down there and get that information. Did you know about that, city manager?
So yes, in fact, they just hired one gentleman that went down checking, and they put him to work right away. Very rarely do contractors do that, and that's kind of going out of the norm to do that. But I think it's very commendable that someone is doing that.
I agree, and it is the norm for contractors to do us like that. I know that's the norm. They don't hire us, and when they do hire us, they don't keep us. So yeah, that is the norm, but thank God it's a new day in Benton Harbor, and it's not going to be normal anymore. Anybody else have a comment?
I just want to know the name of that company.
I think it's Catskill. They are an out-of-town contractor doing specialized cleanup work down at Ox Creek and some restoration. So it was a perfect match for stuff. It didn't require. I don't think you were talking before. Maybe it was an operator, but I mean, they were. I think they were looking for anybody out there.
They
to
were looking
help.
for an operator for an excavator and a dozer.
Right, yeah.
And I know they have one for a dozer right now. So, as far as that, I don't know how they was putting it out there, but they thought I had came in for that job. So,
Do you know where they're from?
I do not. Abbott
So-
Marsh is not overseeing that project, but I can try to help out and find out and that for you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Does any city manager, do you know who brought them in? Who's over them? I mean, somebody has to know something. They just
Yeah.
out here working.
GEI is the contractor that has the job. They're a subcontractor to GEI.
Yeah, that's the consultant, and they're working with the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission on a lot of that stuff. Yep.
So I can answer that. They're out of Brighton, Michigan.
Catskill.
Catskill is out of Brighton, Michigan.
Thank you.
My next one is quick. There's
I
a-
think,
oh,
she
I'm
had a
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I did. Oh.
So really quickly, I do have an amendment. I do have a resolution in front of you. If you want to pass along, I apologize for the delay, but a lot of things are happening on the Eagle Water side in the last couple days that we wanted to try to get this on this agenda, see if we can move it to the full body. If you recall, I presented this before. We've done a few amendments on the water fund before. The $45 million that the city had received a couple years ago, Eagle and the city had broken it up into 4 tasks. Task 1 was the lead service line replacement. Task 2 is the treatment plant improvements. Task 3 is the distribution system upgrades in the city limits. And then they had set up task 4 as contractual support services. So that totals up, it totals up to $45 million. So, oops. Like I said, I gave a memo to you guys. You guys have a hard copy, but essentially, I'm going to explain what that is in these slides. The cost of the current budgets as it is shows up in that budget column. So lead service line replacement is just over 16 million. The water treatment plant just has over 7.5 million. The distribution system upgrades is 20.8 million. And then the contractual support services was 205. So that totals up your 45 billion. So if you look at the next column, it shows what is projected or contracted out. So the budget, like budget completed or contracted. So of course, the lead surface line replacement, that's been done. There's zero funds remaining in that one. We actually did an amendment to move money that was unused to the other tasks. Eagle calls them buckets. You can't use one bucket of money for another bucket, or a task one for a task two. So we did that before from a previous amendment. The water treatment plant has got the 7.5, like I said. What I wanted to highlight was distribution system. So all the distribution projects, the project for Colfax from last year, McAllister, Pavone, Broadway, everything that got water upgrades last year and into this year has been completed. So there's $244,000 left in that fund. The contractual support service task has just under $35,000 left in that fund. So those are the ones that I really want to highlight, as there's $279,000 that the city has in those tasks that they cannot do anything with unless they're moved to another task, if there's needs in another task. So what this resolution that you have is essentially moving the extra funds from task 3, from the distribution system and the contractual support services, essentially to the water treatment plant. The water treatment plant project is still ongoing. The city has an ACO, an administrative consent order with Eagle, that has a lot of things related to the water system, but more so on items at the water treatment plant that the current project is addressing. So what we were recommending is essentially pass a resolution so you can move the unused funds from task 3 to 4 over to the water treatment plant. So they would get, the treatment plant would get the remaining funds to use. So that's what I was saying there. Those new items for that 279,000, they already have been talking with Eagle. Eagle's been recommending things to the staff, to the water group, everything of trying, okay, what can we use this extra money for? They found an extra that they had to do for some asbestos removal at the plant that was unplanned. These are just types of items that this money is going to. Isolation of filters number 1 and 4, that's some stuff at the water plant. I can't get, I'm a little vague on the details. However, I do know that it is an ACO item. So $51,000 from that 270 can go there and can complete that item that is listed on the city's ACO agreement. Same thing with the reservoir influent valve chamber hatch. That was an item that wasn't on the previous water plant project, but we could add it so that it addresses an ACO item. And then the other one that's kind of where I would think that you guys would see a lot of benefit is one of the requirements on the ACO was to have the city repair the entire site perimeter, the fencing. Some of the fencing's in bad shape. So through this transfer, we can get a brand-new fence throughout the entire surrounding water plant property if that money's moved to the water plant. So it is addressing ACO items that were previously not intended to be replaced just based on the original budget. But since this money's available, we'd like to move that over to the water plant so you guys can continue to cross off items on that ACO list. So our recommendation would be move this resolution forward. You can't spend it any other way unless you move it or you use it for some type of contractual service or some distribution system, which really there's not much money for that to do. So our recommendation would be to go ahead and put this towards the full body for potential discussion and this would be the 4th amendment in that fund. And each time we've just moved money from one task to the other, depending on where the task was needed at. So.
And if I might just expand a little bit, this administrative consent order has these items listed. We as a city are going to be obligated to complete them regardless of how they're paid for. And by using the balance of this money, which is actually ARPA money that was provided to the state and then from the state to us, the federal government has notified them that they want ARPA closed out completely by December 30. So Eagle is basically saying to us, we'd like for you to get as much stuff done as you can by September 30. They've given us an extension, one extension on one item to go into November 26, and that's the completion of capital improvement plan. But we are presently in the process, and we need to move this money as quickly as we can because September 30 is just a short time away. And if it's not done by then, it doesn't get paid for by this. It's still left there for us to try to find money to do from general fund later on, and we really don't have it to do it. So we really need to move this as quickly as we can and keep going in there. Hopefully we'll be possibly another one as we finish out things and look at the money. We're trying to not send any money back.
Just out of curiosity, what is a contractual support service? What's an example of that?
At the beginning of the grant, it was at the beginning of the grant, there was things that Eagle and the city were doing as part of the alternatives analysis that was prepared by F&V Engineering when it talked about the financial part of the water system. Eagle had wanted to bring in a third-party person to, which they did have him come in and help out with that. So it was a way for the Eagle and the city to pay a consultant to come in and do some. So it was kind of just, and then the other items that actually has been used, that it's been used for, was like the inspection of the intake. So the inspection of the intake is done by several certified, vendors that go out and dive down and inspect the intake. So that, you would get an estimate for that, and we would go ahead and approve that vendor to get that contractual service done. So kind of on the engineering side of things. Just recently, I think the inspection intake was completed, and so that's been done. And that was a checklist item for Eagle. There was some programming that was needed between the water tower and the water plant. So a special vendor came in to do that coordination and that programming. So stuff that you would see that isn't contractor heavy. Yeah.
And to be clear too, from a city manager's comment, so the money will have to be spent by December 31st. Does that mean the work will be completed before the end of the year too?
September 30, in order to allow time for the invoice and the inspection of the work, of final approval, the invoices, the payment, and then the paperwork all submitted to Eagle so that they can close everything out by December 30.
And could you go back to the page where the work is?
Oh, yeah, right here, yeah. Yeah. The other thing to note there is, and I don't have everything listed here, but most of the items that are being added are items that are needed at the water plant. And the good thing that the city does, they have Grand River as a contractor at the water plant. So we already have a contract in place with a very large contractor. So when you're asking them to look at removing the filter and isolating those filters, those are prices that we have reviewed and negotiated with that contractor through a change order. Even the site fencing, not going out, they're bringing in a good fencing, and they're going to take care of it. So if we had to start from scratch, we would be pressed for time. So we're working as expeditiously as possible. So.
And in fact, an example of that is just as he mentioned about the inspection that was done on the intake. When they completed, they came back with specifications for $121,000 of work that needed to be done. And by simply adjusting the existing contract and adding that into it, that work will get done before the September 30 deadline. If we had to go out and bid and all of that, we couldn't get it done. As a matter of fact, we've been having a problem on the other side of the sewer end of it because the time has run so close that Eagle has said that you don't have time to go out for bid, get the work done, get it paid for and everything. So there's some stuff that we're going to get stuck with because we don't have the ability to do it.
So fencing is a rather simple, entry-level type of thing. Are there any opportunities for, say, people that want to maybe get into that, to, like youth workers or anybody to be able to, maybe shadow or work alongside a simple project like that?
There could be. I do not know the specific details of that fence. I think it might be more robust than a chain link fence that they're specking out. I will follow up with that, Representative Gunter, on that and understand. I believe they have a fencing quote from a fencing company. Yeah. So, but I can find out. There's actually a lot of clearing that if you really look at that, the overgrowth and everything, they're going to have to take some equipment and really clear that out first, and then really reset, because right now the scrub growth and everything else has broken those panels. But I will find out who's planning on doing that and try to get back with you. The other trick on that is making sure it's done before September 30th. Yep.
And we do have to keep in mind that when a company gives us a bid on it, they're bidding it on the basis of their knowledge of their productivity and so forth. This is a security type fence, the nature like you have around airports and stuff to keep people from getting in. What some of the stuff you're hearing in the news just recently about, people coming through the internet and interrupting some places. There are also concerns about other ways that people may interfere with a utility like water. So that's why the fencing is important. They'll have to determine, what and how they can do it.
Any other comments or concerns?
I just have one question. When did you present this to us? Is this just coming to us tonight?
Today, yes. Yep.
Is there a reason why you couldn't have presented, given it to the city clerk before now?
We're meeting weekly now. In fact, we normally were meeting bi-weekly, but as it's getting close to the deadline, we're meeting weekly. And we did, was it Tuesday or Monday that we met with them?
A lot of the costs are coming in very quickly and just recently this week. So my apologies of not getting it on. I did tell the clerk that I'm going to email this out, but yes, I am tardy on it, but it's because we are getting some of these costs on some of these items to actually get that final move, that number that we're moving from the amendment over. We didn't have that until just yesterday, so.
See, what's happening is Rhonda is meeting with them, with the contractors, completing FSRs that are being required by the state to be submitted to them so they can approve or disapprove them before they tell you what amounts you can actually move or try to do something with. So this is going to be an ongoing every week process now until this thing ends. Like I said, September 30 is what this is, mid-August almost. You got less than, 8 weeks? We really don't have a lot of between that we're allowed to.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm asking too is, so the resolution was written when?
The resolution was written
Today?
about 3 o'clock today, maybe
Oh.
before. Yeah, and that's, it ties in with exactly, It's our fourth resolution, so it's the same language as we've had before. So yes, I apologize extremely. If you wanted to table it until the next committee, we're trying to hit this on for discussion for next Monday. If we wait until this, in August, I guess, the next meeting, or even September, we want to lock these funds in so that this work that's going to be done can get paid seamlessly with Eagle. So it's kind of all hands on decks in this last 2 months, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other comments or questions?
Well, I think I would be remiss if I didn't say to you that it would be to the city's disadvantage to even consider tabling. We need to move the stuff through just as fast as we possibly can so that the work can get done.
There any more questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, we'll go to the next one. Really don't have too much choice on this. It's like a stick in the eye. So let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, the number 2 item is resolution responding to Eagle's request regarding the fluoridation of.
Yes, you'll recall that sometime in the last year, I think it was, the issue came up. And at that time, the general feeling was that we weren't excited about doing it, and we basically tabled that resolution. Eagle has simply asked that the commission do a vote to make a decision. Yes, we'll do fluoridation, or no, we won't, and end it.
I see there's a lot of information for fluoride, but I didn't see a whole lot of information against fluoride. And over the last decade, we've been talking about fluoride, and we have proof what fluoride does. So I think this is going to be a controversy topic coming from the pros and cons, and I think it's something that we need to do. We need to have that conversation, but is there a timeline on this? Because Eagle loves to put stuff on us that we can't handle.
I think we have to recognize that time-wise, we've had like the last year. So at this point, they're asking that, you simply make a decision. I agree, there's a lot of information out there. Most of it tends to be in favor, and that's primarily because the principal beneficiaries of fluoridation usually are kids. That's where they're in the growth period with their teeth and so forth. Fluoridation helps to prevent cavities and that type of thing. But it's a decision that the commission, have to make.
Well, I did see several reports about Benton Harbor dental issue, and our kids have a lot of dental problems, and it seems like the fluoride has not helped. I don't know what the problem is, but the report did say that Benton Harbor has Benton Harbor youth kids have an issue. So I don't know where to take this. We did have a discussion, and we tabled it because we didn't want to deal with it, but now we have to. So where do you suggest, City Manager, that we go with this? We do need to have a discussion about it.
We do, and as you said, recent reports have indicated a lot of problems with the teeth of our young children. I don't know exactly how directly that relates to the fact that I don't believe we've had fluoridation for at least, I forget how many years now. It's been probably 3 or 4 at least. Yeah, so I'm just not,
Is
from
there,
from information I've gotten, I think there are more reasons to do it than not to do it. I'd say it like that.
I would like to have a dialogue on it again. I definitely want to look at all avenues of it because this is our babies we're talking about. And the system don't usually, is not usually friendly to our babies and us either. So we have to look at everything and do our research. So if you can, I see all the things that Eagle is saying here. But let's go and look at the pros and the cons and have a discussion about it. Oh, and have a discussion about it. We'll do the pros and the cons. Come back and have a discussion. Is it okay to do it in this committee? Or do you want to take it to another committee, which will be a lot faster?
Yeah, it would probably be a lot faster if you take it to another, the next committee, which would meet before the next commission meeting.
Do you think, Madam Clerk, that communication would be a good place to start that conversation?
Next week's meeting is personnel and finance, so probably not the best item for that committee. And then you have economic development and parks and communications and legislative before it comes back here.
Well, let's see if we can go to communication and have that discussion that's this month. So ask our chair if that's okay, and we'll put it back on the agenda. I want to share all the information that I have. So, yeah, thank you. On that, please.
I'm wondering, and this is just, in my brain, I'm wondering, is there any connection to public trust in water in general and the outcomes we're seeing in our children's dental issues? How are those things connected? So
We'll
before
have
it comes
that
back to us,
discussion.
can we make a note of that and wherever it goes next, to kind of look at that as well?
We'll make that a note and definitely have it part of our discussion.
I didn't understand what he said.
I was saying, is there any connection to public trust in our drinking water and the outcomes we're seeing for children's dental issues?
I would say that'd be kind of difficult because, like I say, you haven't fluorinated the water now for at least, I believe, it's 4 years. And, if some child has gone 4 years with, and it's a fact that we don't necessarily, young kids, period, and certainly young kids, low-income families, don't necessarily brush 3 times a day with, fluoridated paste, and that was the reason to begin with why they started fluoridating water. But I have not heard a lot of things about any side effects that are problematic with and the only thing I've heard is people saying you're adding some chemical. Well, it's true, it is, but it's one that does a lot of good for young kids.
I kind of mean from the standpoint that I don't know many people that drink tap water anymore. For the most part, people drink bottled water. So I'm wondering, is there a connection, because there's no fluoride in bottled water, I'm sure. I'm not sure if it is or not, but so yeah, I'm saying that could be a factor as well.
Could be.
I have a question. So, with the fluoride, how does that, or is it even connected? Because I have had a lot of people approach me in the city, and even myself, with, he was talking about the public trust, right? with problems with the water, as far as smelling coming out of the water, coming out of the faucet, in the bathrooms, in the kitchen. When you turn the water on, there's a smell, an awful smell that comes, foul smell that comes from the water. And I've experienced that myself. How does the fluoride have anything to do with that? Well, I'm just trying to see the connection, if there is a connection, and if there isn't, what could that be caused? What could be causing that foul smell coming from people's pipes or people's water when they turn it on? Because like I said, I've had a lot of people that I've talked to in the city that's having that issue, and not just in one area, but all over Benton Harbor. So what could that be, and how could that be rectified? What would the fluoride do, if anything? I mean,
I don't have an answer as to what, because it's not universal. It's in certain areas, and probably has more to do with the plumbing and so forth associated with some areas other than others. But as I said, you haven't had fluoride in the water now at least 4 years, and I think it's longer than that, because it's like 4 years is when the lead line thing started, and I think they'd stopped fluorinating even before that. So, but I'm sure there couldn't be a connection with fluoride since there's none in there.
Is there a way we can try to put that on the agenda or something to talk about this, or figure out what this issue is? Because like I said, it's not just in one area. I talked to people from different parts of Benton Harbor that's having the same issue with the smelly water.
We'll certainly do some inquiry between now and that next committee meeting, when the topic's going to come up, to see what there is to find, if there's something to find out about them.
Okay, thank you.
Come up, Mr. Duncan.
You said about 4 years ago is when the lead, when it stopped, I mean, when you started 4 years ago, from 4 years ago, that's when the chlorine hasn't been used for 4 years. Is that what you said?
Not chlorine, fluoride.
Fluoride, it all
And I
sounds,
think it's longer than that, but at least that I know.
it sounds about the same. But what I like is for our citizens, when they get their doctor's examinations, I think they should have a lead test. Adults as well as kids.
We're really talking about fluoride in the water right now.
Fluoride, does it have anything to do with, it has nothing to do with,
Well, it could, but we're going to do some research. We'll take that question into questions when we discuss it again.
okay, that'll be good.
So the next communication meeting at 5:30 on a Monday, fourth Monday.
It sounds good. I still would like our people to get tested
For lead,
for lead in particular.
yes.
Thank you.
Any more comments on fluoride in the water? Hearing none. We got new business, a resolution approving $12,000 to complete a required appraisal with 3 additional properties. Who is going to be talking about that?
I will. You may recall a few months back, I came to you about using $25,000 to get appraisals on, we had to get an appraisal first on the property that the dialysis center sits on in order to determine what its value was. And then we had two parcels that were going to be donated to us that we had to have appraisals done on those also. The National Park Service and DNR requires that they be a certain level of appraiser they refer to as yellow book appraisers that they've approved. Those appraisals were done, and of course, they had to also have review appraisal reviews. The value of the dialysis center property came up about $163,000. The other two properties, the initial appraisal looked like it was going to have enough value in them to cover us making that offer to solve the problem. But once we went through the review appraisal process, they got knocked down. We came up about $16,000 short of what is necessary in order for us to solve that problem with the National Park Service. So we've got 3 additional properties now that are being made available that we likewise have to have those appraisals done on. If they come up to the value, then we submit those properties to National Park Service and DNR, and if they accept them, then that will take us off the list we've been on since 2014, where we couldn't get grants for any parks or recreation activity from them. So this $12,000 is the approximate cost of having the appraisals and review appraisals done on the 3 additional parcels.
Could you give us a location of those new parcels?
They're down toward Riverside.
Could you show us where they are on Beacon or somewhere? Let us see, 'cause, you showed us 2 other parcels that we were considering. And I'm assuming that we did the yellow assessment on it too. One was just a parking lot and a sidewalk. And if we put kind of money on that,
We didn't have anything
you showed
like
us
that.
2 parcels.
Yeah, one
one
was over
was-
here on the Pawpaw River.
And one was a parking, it wasn't a parking lot, it was a driveway and a sidewalk. And we asked about that, and I don't think we ever got it solved as to, but now I'm hearing you say that the property did not come up to value, so I do have a picture of those 2 properties that was considered, so I would like to see what the 3 you're talking about now, and if it's true that we did spend whatever amount of money.
Tiffany, could you pull those up on Beacon for us?
Do you know what they are? Yeah. I can't pull them from here. We'll have to plug into that and put them on the screen.
It's important that we have full disclosure. Make a determination about things, and so it's important that I see where those lots are, where those properties are, and who is donating it to us. Oh, the one that caused the problem in the first place. Oh, okay. But we're going to solve it. That's the best thing I can say. So more information on it. Is there a timeline on it? Do we have to do it in next week?
The sooner we do it, the faster we can get off of the,
Gotcha.
and since we have not had a grant from them in 10 years, better.
Even in Ox Creek?
Probably
They didn't give us money in Ox Creek, Mr. Little? They didn't give us money for Ox Creek?
No, no, Ox Creek came from HUD, came from National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, EPA, State of Michigan, but none from,
They holding to us. They make you do what you're supposed to do. When you do wrong, you pay. So let's see if we can. If you can give us that information now, we might be able to kind of discern what's going on. If you can't, we have to pull it to another committee. And maybe that's, yeah.
And what was the threshold that we had to reach? Like, what was the total amount that they had to reach?
You had a question in the audience? Yes. Come to the mic, please.
I'm just kind of confused. I just needed to understand. You're looking for grant funding and you had to have collateral to get the grant funding? I'm trying to understand what the requirements are.
no, what it is that communities are able to apply every year. All of the different federal agencies put out certain monies for certain grants to do certain things. National Park Service is one of the largest sources of funding for doing parks and recreational type stuff. As a matter of fact, that's part of what got into this, is that back in, I think, the 80s, I got a Lakon grant from them that built the boardwalk, the thing that goes up on top of the sand dune and the little house up there, those buildings with the blue tops on them. That was all done through National Park Service money. And when you're doing that, one of the commitments you make is that if you're going to use their money to improve these parks and things, you commit that you're going to keep them forever as parks for the public benefit. And that had attached to Gene Clark Park. Well, initially, when the discussions got going about using 22 acres of Gene Clark Park as a part of the golf course, National Park Service objected at first until they came up with a plan to provide some other properties as mediation for what they were going to allow them to use there. And they did. I think it was about 13 or 14 different parcels of property. One of them was the site where the dialysis center sits right now, and also the lot right next to it. This all occurred during the period when the emergency managers was here. The first emergency manager approved the deal to accept, to submit those mediation properties and accept it and keep it forever public. The second emergency manager came in the next year, and I guess he didn't realize that that was one of the parcels. He sold that parcel for him to put the dialysis center on. And the minute he did that, that disqualified us from applying for anything else from National Park Service until that's resolved. And that's what we're trying to do now. From 2014 until now, nothing has been done on that. And, you know, I used to get those grants regularly for the city, so I know how important it is, and we're going after to try to resolve it so we can get that money again. We could, I mean, we can get up to $400,000 in a year to work on parks and things from them. So it's worth a while to do whatever we have to do to resolve that problem.
So what method, or how do you guys choose which properties that you would have appraised? How is that determined?
It was determined by what was being made available allow us to use anything that we already own.
Oh, okay.
It has to be something that is either being donated or, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions or concerns about this? Because of the lack of information, I want to take it.
Trying to get the beacon up so we can show you.
Okay.
All right. And yes, if you would.
See if you guys can talk about it. I don't know the parcels exactly, but.
You have a comment?
Question, is this about to litigate, litigated property?
Okay, yeah.
It's on Riverside, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact,
Yes.
they are
There's
right,
three
there's
parcels.
three
there.
right there.
Yeah, it's right next to you. Yeah, there's Harbor Shores one here.
Yeah.
There's a Harbor Shores one
Right,
here. And
that's
then
it.
city property, the next one south.
No, it's three
Yeah, it's
theirs.
three,
in
yeah,
a
but
row.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can, how do I get this up there? Yeah, I got my, ah. Yeah, PowerPoint does it that way and. Come on, I'm unplugged. See if that works. Shoot, I don't know how to switch my screens like that. Oh, Tiffany did something. Yeah, my PowerPoint works well and everything else, yeah.
Just if you pull it back up, I'll just take it and show them.
Yeah, yeah.
Or your computer, mommy, I'll just show them.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead. Yep. Hopefully I'll have battery. Sorry about that. We're trying to put it up so everybody can see it. But, oh, there we go. I've never hit that button before. Yeah, I know what it is. It's the very end of Stevens Swamp right here. It's these three here. It's this one, Harbor Shores parcel, that's the Harbor Shores parcel. It's these three right next to each other.
Really? Now, what street is that?
That's on Stevens, right there by the lift station and the kayak launch. Yeah. Right before each other side, so, right there before, so yeah, Wakanda, and then you got Stevens that was just recently redone. So it's those three parcels that are probably just south of the kayak launch.
Yeah, it looks nice.
So we're gonna find out. We drove from, yeah. Vacant land that's there, you drive it down through there, it's gonna look like woods, but you.
But it's still better than that.
Yeah, or
Is it clean? It's clean? No. Basic. I know. Is it contaminated? No. Well, the last ones was contaminated, so I'm asking you, is these contaminated?
We haven't done a study on anything, but we're sure this is part of the same property that we initially had this built there. All of that was with that. We took our limits
Well, I know, back in the day, when they, tore down the house, they just pushed it out in the basement. So everything was probably nasty in there now. So, that's good to know where they are. What committee is available to? That's a great one right there. ask Chair if we can discuss this, and we'll have that beacon map up, and we'll have some more information about those 3 parcels. That'll be great conversation.
Sorry, I'm
Economic
missing it.
Development
What are
and
we saying?
Parks Committee.
Right one.
Economic Development and Parks Committee.
And when is, how many weeks is that? We're delaying ourselves is what we're doing. It's, I mean, there's nothing more that's going to be there than what you
We have
got
to,
here.
we have to know what we're voting on. And I refuse to have it come out of my committee with questions.
What is it
And
you
then go
don't-
to the body, and the body have questions, or not have questions, and just vote. I've been here long enough to see that process, and I don't want to be part of it. So
I
we're
could
gonna
just ask you,
vet
what
it.
is it you want us to find out for you?
We're gonna vet it just the way it's supposed to be. We just got this today. You flooded us with all sorts of things here that we got today. So this is one of them that I would like to see us go back, do all the research on the 3 parcels. I can go back and do research on the other 2 parcels if you like, and with the proof as to what I'm saying is true. But we have to have that conversation, and it's not gonna take us long to do it, especially with your help.
I certainly want to do what you want done, but I'm trying to figure out what would change between now and then. If, the only thing we can do is say, no, we don't want to have them appraised, and we stay right where we are. We don't have any other land to put in it. We just don't continue to not be able to put for
No.
grants from,
No, we'll entertain Harbor Shores, giving this property to us. Like I said, they started the problem, and we can get them to fix it now. But I want to make sure that we're getting a fix, and we're just not getting the vaccine. My humor, excuse me.
So if we receive the sites, is there any requirement of anything we have to do with them? Do we give them to?
the only thing we have to do is get them appraised to determine what their value is. If their value is 16,000 or greater, then we put the other 2 that we already had appraised together with these and submit them to National Park Service to accept them as having $163,000 or greater in value. And that will then release us from not being able to apply for grants with them.
And does that mean that those can never be sold?
Yes, exactly. All 3 of these, they would not be able to be sold. And as a matter of fact, right now, I'm going around trying to identify and put something on the other 12 or 13 so that somebody don't mess around and accidentally sell one of those and put us back in the same position again.
And
Because that's what happened, is nobody actually, I mean, they made the deal and submitted the properties, but nobody put anything on them to say you can't sell them, I guess, is how the mistake got made.
So, and then I can't remember, I just forgot that fast, but all 3 of those butt up against Paw Paw River too, right?
Keep in mind that all of those properties will be parks from now on, forever. They will be parks, so that's a good thing. But I want to make sure we're getting clean stuff.
If it's not clean, we would have to get it cleaned up, just like we do just about anything else we work on.
We didn't clean dialysis property up. They covered it up and put the building on it. They can't grow nothing on it. It's a dirty property. It's nasty. They gave it to us like that and we accepted it. So I don't want to do that again. Thank you.
I think on this one, the problem could be the solution too, because if we accept the properties and then now we're eligible for federal money, the federal money could then be used to, if there's contamination, to clean the property, right?
There's a lot of avenues that we could go if we got property. But we still need to do our due diligence and look at the property and make sure that we're getting what we need. I don't want to spend $12,000 on 3 properties that was contaminated or they can't do it.
How long will it take? I just want to get a timeline, please. How long will it take to check for contamination on those properties?
Oh, that would take you months. But you see, I guess I'm getting confused because you're not, at this point, dealing with the property from the standpoint, you're not paying for it, you're not fixing to build anything on it. All we're doing at this point is one thing, trying to satisfy the requirement in order to get our position unfrozen with National Park Service. The state's got money, the feds got money, there's all kind of money if there's something that need to be cleaned up. But that's got nothing to do with what we're trying to do. All we want to do is value it. And if and appraisal is going to take a good month to get done, but if we wait a month to make a decision, we're just putting ourselves off farther and farther.
Okay, so is there, and it's okay with you, Chair, can I ask Jason a question? Is there any way for us to say what the history of a property is? Like, is there any chance of that property having contamination?
You may be able to look up on Eagle website, viewer or something for contamination. I don't know if you can find the history of the parcel. It probably was segmented out when Stevens Street and everything was, and just nothing was ever built on it at that time, would be my guess. So, yeah. There's probably some research you can do.
Let's kick the can down the road a little bit more on this one, bring it back to economic development and parks, and make sure we're doing the right thing. This is to take this to another committee. Speak up.
I think we should accept them.
Ma'am.
Is there an estimated value on you said it's 3 additional parcels that you need?
Yes.
Do you guys have an estimated value of what the value?
And let me correct the response I gave. It's not that it's 3 that we need, we just need property that will come up to a minimum value of 16,000 or more.
Okay.
And these properties were offered, and the only way we'll know for sure is the actual appraisal.
Okay.
And see, the appraisal is going to take into consideration the location, the fact that it's close to the facility that's there, the river and that kind of thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the chair is saying we're going to carry it to the next committee and have a bigger discussion and a full disclosure of the value of the property and everything. Our assessor has a thought of how much that property is worth, And there is something on our books to tell us, because it's in our city, how much that property is worth. So let's do a little kick down the road on it. Ask our chair to put it on their committee, and we'll kick this down the road one. No, I can't say one more time, because this is the first time we kicking it. So thank you. Say, please, I want to go home.
Yeah, I'm ready to go home.
Okay. Can all vote on that?
I want to kick this down the road any further, but I want to know if it's a comparison, are you actually, is it like a comparison of the dunes and what we're talking about now through the chair?
No, sir, it's not really a comparison. It's just the value of the dollar. So the value of that land for the dialysis was way less. When they put the building on it, it became way bigger. So, yeah, that's how that goes. No.
Okay, thank you.
And on that point, I might add, we argued that issue, that why can't we try and establish a value at the time it was done? But the feds would not accept that. They said your values of whatever you offer to offset it are going to be at today's value, so you need to be comparing to today's value on that.
That's a good point.
Okay, I don't have anything else to say about this. But I do have something to say before public comments. I would like, and I think it's just fair, we have things like this, when we have packets as thick as we've, gotten them, and we're getting them the same day, I would like for us to not put it on the agenda that same day and give the packets to the committee to look at for maybe for the next committee meeting, because I don't think it's fair. I think it's disrespectful for us to have to vote on something that we just got 5 minutes ago, and it's like 5-6 pages long. I don't think that's fair. So I would like to suggest that if we could, when we get things, whatever day we get them out to us as soon as possible, if it's that same day, not put that on the agenda that same night and push it down to the next committee meeting. That's my suggestion.
If I could respond to that, it's not an unreasonable suggestion, except in our circumstances. We are so limited in staff. The one that you just saw, I did that today because it was the first time I had a chance this week to work on it. And I do understand what you're saying, but if you don't put it on a day, you're talking about a month from now. And for something like what we were talking about with the Eagle stuff for the water plant, if we waited a month from now, there'd be no need for us to even do it because the deadline would already be there. And so we're trying to keep things moving given our circumstances and our limitations. And unfortunately, that's the problem we have. But we will do our absolute best to try to minimize how often that has to occur.
Okay, I appreciate that. I understand with the Eagle situation, like you guys explained it, as far as, needs to happen as soon as possible because of the deadline of September 30th. But I'm also referring to the rotation of what that, I don't know what that was.
That one's just for discussion. It's not necessarily ready for action.
Yeah, but we can't even discuss it if we haven't read it.
Oh, well, that's why it's coming back next time.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying things like that, right? Not, that's what I'm saying. Things like that could have gotten to us. Like, don't put it on the same night.
I understand.
Okay, all right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Public comment.
I'm gonna keep this brief because I know
Ready to go
Sandra Booker, I know everybody ready to go home. But this is really critical. It's actually important. This is actually for Deputy Clark. In regards to, I'm sure you got the email from Commissioner Turner yesterday in regards to the stun guns question. Okay, I need to officially know, because all the research that I've done, and I've looked up the penal codes, things of that nature, specifically says that stun guns are entirely illegal to sell or possess for ordinary civilians. So is that not true?
That
Illegal?
Illegal to sell?
Correct. Stun guns are illegal in Michigan. The only thing that is legal, you can, as a civilian, purchase a taser. They make a specific model. It has to have probes come out. It has to launch confetti tabs that have serial numbers on it. And you have to have a CPL to carry it. But just a straight up stun gun, those are illegal. Now, they're legal in Indiana, and sometimes people will buy them down there and bring them across the border. We did get the tip that some stores are selling them around here, and we relayed that to our investigators to go start looking into that. I know one of the ones that was mentioned yesterday, again, is in the township, so we've passed that along to them too, for them to look into. But yeah, no, they're not legal in Michigan at all. Not even for us. We can only use the same thing. We have to have tasers, and the law is very strict in the state about that.
Okay, what is the, like, how long does the investigation take? Like, is there something that's lengthy? Or, because my thing is this, I had a family member that was arrested for having a stun gun, in which she informed the officer that she had it, didn't know that it was illegal, which was probably, on her part, that she should have known that. But the thing is, for me, is that she would have never had access to it if we didn't have establishments in the city selling. To me, it's almost like a drug dealer. The addict can't get the drug without the dealer. So I'm trying to figure out how is this, because to me, it's a sense of urgency, because I don't think it's fair that citizens are getting arrested for having stun guns in which they're being distributed by credible businesses in the city.
How long it's going to take, that just depends on what we see when we go into each store. I'm trying to figure out how I can say this without letting other cats out the bag. So a retail establishment, it is their obligation to know what they can sell and what they can't.
Correct.
And it is also their obligation to follow those rules.
Oh, correct.
And in the state of Michigan, those are not even allowed for sale.
Right.
So if they choose to buy them through nefarious means, import them into the state, and then sell them, that becomes a legal problem for them. Now, granted, I don't have a staff member that goes around to each store. So like, I got the tip yesterday afternoon. I relayed some conversation with Commissioner Turner to give him the law, the MCLs, to get him updated as to, where he needs to be with that. And then started relaying to the detectives as to what's going on. I have 2 detectives. I have one that's in a jury trial today. I have one that's working the shooting over on Baird. So, what work they may have started this morning is going to be carried over to tomorrow. And as we work through the stores and the establishments, we'll make the necessary needs, send it to the prosecutor's office for them to issue whatever charges they deem fit, and then we'll go from there. I don't want to give you a date and, not be able to meet it for other reasons, so.
Okay.
But we are working on it. It's very concerning to me when you get stuff like that, because, again, retail establishments are supposed to know what they can sell and what they can't, and certain ones will try to skirt the rules, so we have to address that.
Okay, thank you.
Could I make one parting comment before we close? As I went out, I thought about, you made the statement a little earlier when I mentioned Harbor Shores was making the property available. You said they're the ones that cause a problem. That's really not true. It's emergency managers that cause a problem, and I think that should be known.
No, Harbor Shores and the city of Benton Harbor caused the problem because they got what they wanted, 22 acres of, and they gave us crap. So yes, no, the city had some responsibility because they voted yes for it. And Harbor Shores knew exactly what they was doing. So, yeah, they caused the problem, and we're going to help them solve the problem.
I understand, but what I was trying to do is clarify something. The city didn't vote on that. That was handled with one signature, and I don't believe commissioners had anything to say on
No,
it.
we didn't have any choice on selling the property, but we had a choice on accepting the property, which was contaminated. So yeah, we're at fault, and Harbor Shores is too. I was here. You weren't there. I was here. I saw what happened. I am so glad that Harbor Shores is finally coming around and fixing that problem for us. Because now we're going to have how many parks? More than 13, right? In 4.5 miles. How many parcels little parks can you have? Don't have any more comments. I'm gonna laugh myself right up. The meeting is adjourned.